Today we will figure out 12. We'll be watching 12 minutes of highly questionable bird facts, and if he talks about how pigeons are cameras for the CIA because apparently they never lay eggs. Let's just watch the video. Damn, that's a throat.
Don't let the baby face and lack of facial hair fool you. Us 90s kids are getting old. And one thing they don't tell you about getting old, that birdwatcher phase really comes out of nowhere. You'll just be minding your own affairs and then one day, unprovoked, you'll be like, that is an immaculate looking grackle.
No cap. I'm 20. I'm not. I'm born in 2005. I don't know what he's talking about. But looking at birds is low key kind of fun. Like finding a new bird that you've never seen before. Interesting. Like so one time, like 2 days ago, I saw an all red bird. Didn't know they make those.
Laughed, but the whole time he was right. The bird is the word. And is he wrong? Just look at Buddy go. I could watch that for a couple of minutes without getting bored. This
Hey,
is an American woodcock, and I know what you're thinking. They go by a lot of names, such as the timberdoodle, the bogsucker, and the hokum poke. As for the partridge
they went 3 for 3 with terrible names. Oh my god.
plugwalk, woodcocks eat worms, and it's believed that a cute little woodcock waltz to us is a Category 7 disaster to any earthworms below, and the confusion makes it easier for a hokum poke to poke 'em folks. They do their dancey dance in the name of murder. And clearly it takes some time for a woodcock to get the rhythm right. As you can see for this baby bogsucker, the beat is chasing them. They're just faster, but they're trying, and one day they'll get the motion, and that's all you really can do when you're a little woodcock. Now, if I've gotten older, there's one bird I've really grown to appreciate. This is a blue-footed booby. Now, I know what you're thinking. Let's address it.
I saw that one in the Cat in the Hat one time. It don't remember the episode.
Why blue? We'll get to that, but the blue-footed booby is a seabird of the Sula genus, along with the masked booby, the Nazca booby, the Peruvian booby, brown booby, and the red
Said booby.
footed booby. Because don't let poor media representation fool you. Boobies come in a lot of colors, but to be fair, you might have only ever seen blue. Well, the blue comes from the carotenoid
Or
pigments
black
in
and
the
white.
fish they eat. It's really no different from the shrimp that turns flamingos pink. And if you identify as Bugs Bunny, the carrot consumption can tint you tangerine. For
Jesus.
bluefoots, the color actually correlates to their health, and by extension, how attractive they are to a partner. And there's no stolen valor in the system. Scientists did an experiment where the boobies starved for 48 hours
So the bluer you are, the more likely it is you're gonna get blue blown.
an immediate decrease in the brightness of their blue. They
No
took it a step
regrets.
further by taking a male booby, we'll call him a booby, that already had a female lay an egg in his nest, and
Call
dulled his
him a
feet with
boob.
makeup. His mate responded to the nerf by laying a smaller egg days later, one with less yolk concentration and therefore less of a chance of living. So yeah, the brightness of a booby means everything and is a literal blue check that verifies their immunological health. Funny thing, you see the same thing with mandrills. Male mandrills look like they got rear-ended by a snow cone machine because it's a sign of
Damn.
social status. The higher the status, the higher the saturation. But a mandrill that gets regularly bullied and beaten will lose its cheek color, so that's why alpha mandrills look like they're constantly cotton candy constipated. The brighter the butt, the more he procreates, and brighter boobies get more groupies, which is why their courtship display involves birds flaunting their colorway. It's like red bombs, but for crit. It honestly looks like they're on a mission not to crease their sneaks, and the final act of this dance involves the booby presenting his partner with nest material. Even though blue-footed boobies don't even make
I ain't gonna lie, that's low kind of motion. Like you're showing you show your booby, you show your boo bee that you can build her a house. Mm. What am I even talking about?
Nah, instead they thug it out on the ground, while defecating 360 until the dried product forms a ring around the nest. Why?
Ew.
Well, as it turns out, boobies have a poor sense of smell, but great visual memory, and in a flock of up to 10,000, they recognize their nest by the specific ring of guano, and guano stands for gonna wanna stay in that ring, because somehow that visual memory doesn't apply to their children, and only chicks inside the septic center get fed. Baby boobies that leave the center not only don't get recognized and don't get fed, they might get massacred by their own.
That's real talk. Leave the crib, you no longer my child no more. Hey, life is life. What was I thinking about? How do they choose their pattern? Is it because it's poop, right? Is it more of a diarrhea of you just kind of let it go and whatever it ends up is whatever it ends up? Or is it like specified like, we should do it like this? No, more poop over there. Can you scoop the poop back in?
Own mother. Did I just catch you? Leaving the poop ring.
FanDuel Casino has.
That's not the only way a baby booby can get deflated. This seabird practices siblicide, because again, don't let the internet's unrealistic booby standards tell you otherwise. No pair of boobies are exactly the same. One's always a little bit bigger.
Buoy.
And that's okay, it's totally normal, but it does mean the bustier bosom will bludgeon and bully the weaker chick, often while the parents
Real.
watch the booby get murked like mastectomy. It usually happens when parents are low on groceries, but sometimes the booby newbie will catch a body just because. The Nazca booby will yeet its sibling out of the nest, even though studies have proven that boobies working together could easily feed both children.
Did I just catch you on the beach?
Alive? Yeah, it ain't all beauty being a booby. Like I said, unrealistic booby standards aside, they come in many colors like the red-footed variety. Also from their diet, and they also use their feet game to secure a mate. Evidently, it might work too well, as not even a predatory coconut crab can resist getting grabby with an unsuspecting booby bird. But there's more than just crip-walking unmentionables in the world. There's also tits. I've definitely grown to appreciate these fleet of flying popcorn chickens.
What?
Really nothing like waking up and opening your blinds to a nice pair of
That's a Pokemon.
outside your window. Tits are a large family of passerine birds,
Pardon?
and opening your blinds to a nice pair resting outside your window. Tits are a large
I know bird dudes, the people who study birds don't get any girls at all, but it gets to a point. It gets to a point where you need to stop fantasizing about you know, female body parts and go get some. Because when it gets to the point of you're naming your discoveries after body parts, even though they look nothing like a body part, this looks nothing like a nipple. Maybe maybe the head looks like a nipple, but it's a bird. You couldn't come up with something, you know what I'm saying, more creative?
family of passerine birds seasoned all across the world. Alright, let me stop waffling. Let's address the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
In Asia and Africa, they're known as tit birds, but come to America and you'll find they're called
Pickadees!
So I get why you're confused. You got an Italian plumber with a Japanese creator using their American name. Understandable, that would trip up anyone. Now with the birds with the tit variety, how they got their name is actually pretty interesting. Back in the day, tit was more like teat, and teat was an old English word for little or small, or even the suggestion of something small. Matter of fact, there was a time where it was used to reference a small horse or pony in the very derogatory. For example, no storing of pasture with baggly tit, with ragged with age, and evil at hit. Thomas Tasser. Translation: Tommy had a problem with them horses. But yeah, tit means little, and if you don't believe me, pardonnez mon français, mais petite means little. So that is
Yeah.
un petit pair de tits. Also in old-timer language, mus referred to bird, and the game of telephone turning mus into mouse is how there's now a group of birds known as titmouse. English lesson aside, when it comes to birds,
Now Lovsky sounds like tit in the mouth. Oh my god, I need to grow up.
there's a lot of tits in the world, and they come in all shapes and sizes. My favorite is the long-tailed tit. Look at him. He's like my final boss of bird bias. It's one of Europe's smallest birds, cause, you know, they tend to keep it pretty putsy, except in Sweden. They got big ones
Tit.
over there. In fact, it's home to the great tit. At about 5.5 inches as far as tits go, they sure are. Can't leave the Americans out, so of course we gotta shout out Saltriparus minimus. or the bush tit. And representing the aforementioned titmouse is the tufted titmouse of Texas. Obviously, they're found in more than just Texas, but ain't no stops in alliteration station. But back to my preference, the long-tailed tit. And not just because of shape, although I do like them round. I don't really have a preference. They're all beautiful.
You a nasty, nasty man.
He's just built like a perfect snowball, and something about watching them hang in the air is just satisfying. But also because they have a daycare system. Nature just couldn't let a long-tailed tit rock, so they have a lot of predators like owls, weasels, and even unnatural ones like domestic cats they can thank us for. The war on tits means they're airborne cotton ball.
Why do other birds eat each other? I mean, an eagle, sure, why not? But owls come out during the night. How they find it? I mean, if they go to the nest. But other birds, dang.
Has a high nest failure rate, but the thing is, if their family becomes compromised in the middle of their nesting season in May, because tits usually pop out in the spring, instead of trying again, usually what they'll do is help out a nearby nest. Now the helpers are usually related, but in a study, half of all the long-tailed nests had at least one and usually more recruits helping the cause. As you can guess, the chicks raised with helpers have a better chance of surviving a trip around the sun, and the experience means the helpers' future children have better luck at life. So basically, these birds are the embodiment of it takes a village, and it's always a pleasant sight to see tits sticking together for the greater good. And I gotta say, out of all these birds, I really like the of this one. Also pronounced giz, is a term used by bird watchers to describe the overall appearance or impression of said bird, typically garnered from attributes such as size, shape, flying pattern, posture, coloration. It's all about aura, the vibes. For example, some favor the J-work of a booby. Me, I prefer the vibe of a long-tailed tit. Everyone has a preference. Woosah. I hope you didn't think we were done, because we also have the tit babbler of the family, Tumulidae. Now you know where the TIT part spawned from, but the babble of it all referenced the constant babbling sounds they make. And obviously the naming guy wasn't into it. There's a lot of types of old world tit babblers, but probably the most famous one is the fluffy-backed tit babbler of Southeast Asia. And honestly, they're pretty, and I wasn't a believer at first, but I do see the fluffy part come into play, so having a name with babble, it's kind of disrespectful. Surely someone cares for what a talking tit bird has to say, but hey, they could have been done way, way worse. This is a dick sizzle.
It's a new day. How can you...
It's basically a cardinal you can find in the American Midwest and Central America. As in, they have all their hanky-spanky fun times in the US Midwest during their breeding season from about early June to mid-August.
Random question I came up with. When a baby tit needs milk, does it suck on the big mama's big mama tits? And when the tits are trying to make baby tits, is the papa tit if the papa tit is free enough, does the papa tit suck on the mama tit? What did I just say?
Then, before fall, the symphony of sizzledicks migrate en masse to Central and South America. They nest on the ground, and they're highly territorial and will run fades in the name of property development. So if you walk outside to a hyper-pigmented popcorn kernel running the ones, you sir have a case of aggressive dick sizzles. But considering they're only 5 inches long, you
That sounds like something you don't want. What do you say? What do they call it?
You sir have a case of aggressive dick sizzles. But
Oh man, sizzles.
considering they're only 5 inches long, you'd much rather hear those words on your front lawn than from a doctor in a clinic. And the same way the morning dove brings you back to waking up in your childhood bedroom, Dick Sizzle might have been your summer anthem and you didn't even realize it. In fact, that's how they got their name. Apparently after what the naming guy thought their song sounded like in words. And somehow that was enough to get named like an STD.
If anything's gonna be called meat sizzle, I'm not gonna say the word. It should be cicadas, is it not? Because they actually sound like sizzling. That sounds like a bird. So Yeah, they're really missing on these names, huh?
If that's onomatopoeia, I wouldn't want to be ya. Speaking of which, this is the go-away bird of Africa. Same timing as Richard Sizzle. Their lore is that their call sounds like Kowe, which...
No cap. Some of these animals really got good grooming. Because look at that mohawk. I know mohawks are lame. Like, if you have a mohawk as a human, pack it up, go bald, or grow your hair out. But this is actually nice. Do they do something for it, or is it all natural?
Apparently was in the neighborhood of Go Away. You know, at first I wasn't feeling it, but if I try really hard, I can make myself hear it.
Oh,
I
it stands up, okay.
Did he not just curse? The fun thing about them is, it's believed that is an alarm call to warn other go-aways and actually even other animals of predators. Conceptually, if that's true, that's really cool. And that's it for the onomatopoeia portion. Let's talk about the rough-faced shag. It sounds like a euphemism for the cultural appropriation of canine coitus. Really, it's a rare seabird endemic to New Zealand. Shout out New Zealand. A cormorant, if you will. You know what else is a cormorant? I believe you've missed. This aquatic attack on Titan is also called a king shag, and the rough-faced thing comes from the patch of dry yellow skin called the caruncle. Lots of birds have this, like the king.
Damn, that's a brain.
Vulture. Ew. By the way, do not Google caruncles on a pigeon. I'm serious, that ruined my whole vibe. For Big Shaggy, the caruncles really swell up and brighten during breeding season. Also, that ring around their eye turns an even bolder blue. It's really no different from the blue of a booby bird. Consider it amorous eczema. And it's not the weirdest thing a bird will do for attention. This is...
You know what's crazy? Some of these are related to dinosaurs. Like the T-Rex or Velociraptor is probably his great uncle.
Is a sage grouse.
Great grandfather.
Part of the video that might actually get me.
Two
bird. Things. One, that's a guy, and two, those implants are inflatable guller sacs that they pop out for female validation. What they'll do is gangs of grouses will gather in groups called leks, that's L-E-K, and
oh, The Rock does that. I mean, Terry Crews does that, huh? You can't really see that. I'm a little bit. Yeah, boy, a little bit of bounce.
They'll display their headlights in a courtship dance that you can actually hear from 3 miles away. It's very competitive, and they'll spend hours a day doing it. And in the center of the lek is the biggest bosom bird, the dominant male that gets to mate with pretty much 80% of the girl grouses there.
Damn.
Now, let's be honest, you and I probably had the same thought when we saw this. How do they avoid predators when they're built like an uppercase cry for attention? Yeah, see, that's the thing though. Grouses have the peacock problem. Their biggest...
Nah, he over here spending that game for real. Yo, what's up, man? What's up, man? I know you see my fault. My chest is too big. Type. Yeah, you feel me? Like, what's up with you?
This flex often gets them flatlined by predators. Those chesticles mean guy grouses get griefed by eagles so bad that the ratio of girls to guys can be 2 to 1. But there's another bird that gets their leks in. This is an Andean cock of the rock. Damn. Shout out to Peru, that is their national bird, and that is who you can blame for this. They have one of the biggest glow ups in nature because that's how they look fresh out the shell. The cock of the rock.
Dang. Oh, God.
Rock will also gather in leks and also put on a show for female attention.
Isn't that a Pokemon?
I wish I had more videos I could show you, but apparently cock of the rocks are difficult to witness because apparently they're shy and easy to disturb because even a rock cock can get performance anxiety. Again, it happens, it's totally normal.
They look like chickens. But anyway, again, look at that. Do they use something for their hair? That's so cool.
Even a rock cock can get performance anxiety. Again, it happens, it's totally normal. I mean, not to this guy, but with a name like Superb Bird of Paradise, thinking otherwise would be a failure. Totally normal. I mean, not to this guy.
Is that a butterfly?
With a name like Superb Bird of Paradise, thinking otherwise would be a failure of your expectations. But whether you see it or not, the bird of Peru really knows how to rock out with his cock. Okay, that's gonna do it for this video. I feel like with all the chest jokes I made, it's only right that I donate to the breast cancer organization. So link down below if you'd like to do so as well. Also, did you know 1 in 8 women will develop breast cancer? Stop playing.
Well, anyway, I guess the video's sorry to skip, but yep. So what have we learned today, class? Lots of animals are named after boobs. Yeah.